Donald Trump is continuing with claims about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I want to show you what he said on a podcast yesterday. Take a listen.
I think Zelensky is one of the greatest salesmen I've ever seen. Every time he comes in, we give him $100 billion. Who else got that kind of money in history? There's never been. And that doesn't mean I don't want to help him, because I feel very badly for those people. But he should never have let that war start. That war's a loser. Ukraine, remember, is not Ukraine anymore. Every city almost is knocked down to the ground. All those beautiful golden domes are laying on their side, smashed to smithereens.
Richard, take it away.
The idea that Zelensky, quote unquote, let that war begin, I've heard of rewritings of history. This was a war, shall we say, that was made in Moscow. Ukraine has fought bravely now for 2.5 years, close to fighting Russia to a standstill, despite the disparity between the two societies and military. If Donald Trump were to be elected, if he really wants the war to end, the only way he could make it end would be by supporting Zelensky against Putin to essentially persuade Putin that time is not on his side. If Vladimir Putin concludes that the West won't support Ukraine, then Putin has no incentive to compromise. If, however, it's clear the United States will support Ukraine militarily and will allow Ukraine to attack certain targets within Russia that have been off limits, essentially the cost of the war comes to Russia. The future doesn't promise what Mr. Putin wanted, and that sets the stage for a negotiation. Donald Trump says he wants to be a deal maker. Again, if he were to be elected, the only way he could be a deal maker on terms that would not undermine the West would be to be much more supportive of Ukraine. And if Vice President Harris is the next president, again, there I think you'll have a clear commitment to Ukraine. And it does potentially set the stage so 2025 or 2026, the emphasis begins to shift away from the battlefield to the negotiating table. But for that to happen successfully, there's got to be conditions on the battlefield that, again, persuade really both sides that they're not going to realize their aims militarily. They've got to reemphasize or introduce the diplomatic dimension.
So, President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass, thank you very much. And retired 4-star Navy Admiral James Stavridis, thank you as well.